Hello, so today we are going to continue our vertex form, but we're going to actually graph our equations here. So let's just remind ourselves of our vertex form. It is a times x minus h squared plus k. And yesterday we talked about the movement of h and k, where h is telling me I'm moving left or right, and k is telling me I'm moving up or down. Where h comma k is the vertex and our axis of symmetry is the x equals h, whatever that h is. So let's actually go through and graph each function here. So step one of graphing is to find the vertex. So remember, whoops, this is my h and this is my k. H is opposite of what I see. So h is -1 and k is -7. So our vertex is -1, -7. That's step one. And if we were to graph this, I'm going to make this graph a little bigger. So if I were to graph that point, I would go left 1 and down 7. Whoops. So there would be our vertex. So now to get the other points on the graph, let's make a table of values. And let's put our vertex in the middle. So my vertex I find was -1, -7. And let's pick x values that are 1 less than our vertex of our x and 1 more than. So 1 less than -1 is -2 and 1 more than is 0. And all we need to do is take those x values and plug them into our original equation to find our y. So if I were to plug that in, I would say -2 plus 1 squared minus 7. And if we evaluate that, you could just type that all directly into your calculator exactly how I have it written. So open a parenthesis, -2 plus 1, close your parenthesis, square it, and then minus 7. And if we plug that in, we end up getting -6. Well, remember that a quadratic function is a mirror image of itself on both sides of the vertex. So if you did 1 above and 1 below, if I were to plug this in, 0 plus 1 squared minus 7, I'm also going to get -6. So they're going to be the same amount. So then all we got to do is plot those 2 points. So 0, -6, and -2, -6. And there would be the graph of my function. Let's look at the next one. So here we have an a value out in the front, so that's going to take a little bit more evaluating, but here is our h and our k. H is opposite, which means h is -3, which means my vertex is going to be at -3 and k is -2. So there's my vertex, and then we make our table of values, put our vertex in the center, and then go 1 below, which is at -4, and 1 above, which is at -2. And we're going to plug that into the equation. So we have -1/3 times -4 plus 3 squared minus 2. And again, you can type that directly into your calculator, and you're going to get -2 and 1/3. And if you recall from the previous example, because it's a quadratic, we know they're going to be a mirror image of itself. So when I plug -2 in, I should also get -2 and 1/3, because they're -4 and -2 are both exactly 1 unit away from our -3 of our x values. And so now we just need to plot that. I'm going to erase this work here so I can make my graph bigger. So now I just need to plot those 3 points. So if we plot our vertex is right here, and then at -4 we're at -2 1/3, so I'm just going to go down a little bit and down a little bit, and then there would be my graph. Okay, let's look at another one. Okay, so here we have another a value, but it's not a fraction, which is helpful. So here's my h and my k. So my vertex is at a positive 2 and a positive 5. So if we make our table, put our vertex in the center, 1 below 2 is 1 and 1 above 2 is 3. So those are the numbers we're going to plug into our equation. So I'm going to have 3 times 1 minus 2 squared plus 5. And again, type that directly into your calculator all at one time, and you are going to get 8. And because it's a mirror image, when I do 3, I am also going to get 8. And then all we need to do is plot those points. So if we plot our 2, 5, I'm going to go right 2 and up 5. And then our 1, 8, so that's our vertex. And then 1, 8 is right 1 and up 8. And then our last one, right 3 and up 8. And there is our graph. And our last problem here. So notice we have nothing over here at the end, which means I can just add a plus 0. So here is my h and here is my k. So my vertex is going to be at a positive 4 because it's opposite of what I see, and 0. And then when I make my table, I put my vertex in the center. 1 below 4 is 3, 1 above 4 is 5. And we're going to plug that in. So we're going to go 1/2 times 3 minus 4 squared. And I could write the plus 0 if I wanted, but I don't have to because when I add 0 it doesn't change it. So this is going to give me 1/2. And then again, because it's a mirror image, when I do the other one, I should also get 1/2. And then we just plot our points. So our vertex was at 4, 0, so I'm going to go right 4, and then nowhere in the x direction. And then 3, 1/2 means right 3 and up 1/2. And then right 5 and up 1/2. And there is my graph. So that is how we graph using vertex form.